And she, finally the priest said to her, Katie, make a novena. Christ said faith will move mountains. Make a 9-day novena, and you can shift the mountain with your faith. So she did for 9 days. The story goes, it's an Irish story, which probably never happened, but anyway, or perhaps it did, but in another way. And finally, she used to look out every morning to the mountain and say, you'll be gone in 9 days, or you'll be gone in 8 days, you'll be gone in 7 days. And the night before she went to bed, she looked out of the mountain and said, you won't be there in the morning, I'll have a flat walk over to Mass. Well, when she got up in the morning, the mountain was still there. So she said, I knew you'd be there all the time. She really didn't believe. So the power of the sacramental of making this novena. A novena is a sacramental of another kind. It wasn't hard work. You must believe, must have faith. And you've always noticed the saints, whether it's Padre Pio or whoever, John Bosco or St. Ignatius, they always use something. Christ himself, remember, he used to mix mud with his spittle and put it in your ears in order to show that sacramentals had power if you have the faith. And he had the power and he had the faith. So holy water is used, and holy water is very powerful. And as you know, there's a French expression, when you want to say somebody's very uncomfortable, you say it's like Lucifer in a holy water font. And it does make, they dislike holy water very much. There's like crucifixes too, but holy water and Lourdes water. That Lourdes water is very, very powerful water, we find. But holy water, any holy water is, there should always be holy water in the house. And we should bless ourselves with it. But in an exorcism, it's used extensively. And it doesn't burn them, it just drives them crazy. In the exorcism, the picture, the priest shook some water on them, and it was sort of as if it was burning nitroglycerin or something. It wasn't that. It's that any approach of divinity is torture. Is torture. So yes, holy water is used, and crucifix is used, and holy candles are used. Sometimes there's a danger with those because they're blown out, they're kicked, they're thrown, they're spat upon, they're split in 3 ways. I've seen candles split down like zigzag, like as if somebody ran a knife through them. Things you can't describe to people. The temperature in the room can change, can go from freezing cold, 5 below, to 100 degrees within a drop of a hat.
So very dramatic things can happen during exorcisms.
Very. If the demon is very angry and very powerful, he can make mistakes. Or if there's a big prize at stake, then you can expect a dirty struggle. Sometimes the demon is extremely stupid. You can trap it maliciously, because you're the killer, or it's the killer. There's no mercy, there's no humor. There's sardonic, schadenfreude, as the Germans say, laughing at somebody's hurt, but there's no real humor or wit in it at all. So yes, holy water is used, and a lot of other things are used too, like that.
Now, are exorcisms sometimes performed on places or objects?
Yes, you can exorcise a place or an object. A room is obsessed. A room is possessed. A room can be obsessed too, just as what they call the poltergeist syndrome, you know. It's on its way to possession. Why that takes place, we don't know exactly. We have guesses, and the church has always had reasons for thinking it, theologians have, and then saints have given us revelations, but there's nothing dogmatically fixed why places are obsessed, but we know they are possessed and obsessed. Usually there are places where there's been a gross injustice, or there's a murder, or there's a body buried unknown, or there's been a severe desecration of the Holy Communion or the Mass, or there's been a violation of a nun or a priest, or it's a funny thing. You know, it works both ways. You know, Our Lady, when she appeared in Spain, in Garabandal, at one stage she told the children to collect everybody's rosary beads and she blessed them. And they put them all into a basket, and then she brought it to Our Lady, and the Lady blessed them all. Then the child came out and was giving back all the rosary beads back to their owners. And she knew instinctively, by divine help, who to give the rosary beads to, except that when she was leaving Our Lady said, there's a powder compact in there, don't give it to the person, because it was a pyx. It was stolen and made into, if you know what a pyx is, it's the little box where the priest carries the host in. That belongs to my son. So it was a sacramental that had this mark forever, that had once been used for the Blessed Sacrament, and now had been used, turned into a woman's powder compact with a little powder puff in it. So it does affect them physically, and I bet you, Bernard, if you walked into some of the areas I've had to walk into in this world, especially in Europe and the Middle East, but also in America, you'd know instinctively no sacramental had ever entered. There'd never been any holiness there. And the moment you sprinkle holy water there, and prayer and pray, there's some immediate lifting of the atmosphere. I don't know what it is. Or else you get out fast. It's the world is either full of God or it's full of the devil. There's no in between. There's no neutral terrain.
Let's take a look at some of the ways now that Satanism is spreading throughout our society, so here in North America or in Europe.
Well, we're into a new phase, a completely new phase. That's our opinion in this matter. I'll tell you why we call it a new phase. There's no doubt about it that from before the time of Christ, especially during the time of Christ, as the Gospels testify, there has always been possession. Always been possession. And always been exorcism too. The Jewish religion did give a means of exorcism to its priests and wise men. And Christ himself, he had, being Lord and Master, he could expel devils like that. And remember, he cleaned out 7 devils out of Mary Magdalene. That's a lot of devils. Now, we've always had that. And the Middle Ages, and right down to the Renaissance, and then to the Enlightenment, as they call it, this thing continued. Then, of course, belief in the devil dropped out, and belief in the church dropped out, and Catholicism was limited to certain countries. And then the scientists set about proving there was no such thing as the devil, no such thing as possession, therefore. So the whole idea dropped out. In the meantime, what we have found out is happening, and by the way, this rests as much on the testimony of demons which we exorcise and have to speak and say what they're doing in life, because sometimes the people who need to come for exorcism, and this, I must keep my mouth shut off this on this point, are high up in government or finance. And they've influenced about a lot of people in a lot of countries. And you'd be appalled sometimes by the near accidents we ran with great men and great women. But about that we can't speak an awful lot. But know that it's a fact. That because from all that testimony, from all that factual situation, as well as from what the church tells us, it's quite clear that what Lucifer has concentrated on today is the group organization. There's no doubt about it that running right through our society, say take my own country here, the USA, running right through its society, especially in the public institutions. And by that I mean government offices at the city, state, and federal level. Washington. There's no doubt about it that Lucifer has acquired a phalanx of servitors, of servants in these places who will do his bidding and do his bidding automatically. Some of them I've met, and some of them are completely possessed. They do his will from morning until night, and they have a very good time. They have a great success. They have a very good life as far as material things go. So it's influencing groups to do his will, and to do his will in this matter means de-Catholicizing the church, ridding public life of any semblance of religion at all, any religion, not merely the Roman Catholicism. But Roman Catholicism is a special enemy because he knows, have something the others haven't got. And you know, Bernard, somebody has said it, and it's true, and it's not a Catholic who said it, if tomorrow the Roman Catholic Church were wiped out completely, the rest of Christianity would fall to pieces. It's the lodestone that holds them all together finally, and is the norm by which they define themselves. So the mode today is different. It's no longer individuals. It's now whole groups, it's whole governments, it's whole schools, it's whole foundations, its whole organization dedicated to promoting the will of Satan along the sexual line, along the art line, along the historical line, along the statecraft line, along the economic line, along the line of, say, junk bonds. It's a funny thing. This is his tactic, and this means that he, in his plans, in Lucifer's plans, there's a showdown coming, and he's marshalling all the forces possible, and he's succeeding so far. He's got so many servants because he grants them success. They get success. You see, What you and I forget is this, that when you're normally doing your work, but I'm doing my work, and we're doing it decently and as good as we can, and as sinlessly as we can, we're getting light from God continually. They call it lumen Christi, light of Christ. We get it in our brains, our intelligence. Similarly, if I'm serving Satan, he has his own light. He will enlighten them, and they have their own intuitions, their own instructions, their own light. He gives light and makes them succeed and gives them their pleasures and gives them their successes.